All right. Hi, everybody. There might be some background noise because I'm going live from the hotel where I'm staying in San Jose, Costa Rica. But just wanted to fill you in with some more details and answer any questions that any of you have about nature journaling in wet conditions. Right here, you can see the sketchbook that I took on that trip in the Amazon. This is Right in the Rain paper. They make several versions of these. I really like this one. This one's more for sketchers because it has blank pages. A lot of their other books have lined pages. Here you can see some of the sketches that I did in the Galapagos. That's when I was swimming and I actually carried this book in my mouth. Most of the pages from the Amazon, I cut out and glued into another book. This is something that I've been experimenting with, and I don't know if it's going to be a good long-term solution if you want to preserve the integrity of the original book because it will mess up the binding. However, the benefit of it is that you can get all of those pages together with the rest of your story. So, for example, here I have my pages when I was in Yasuni National Park, and on the other side of the river on the rainy day in the Pilchi community, I did these pages. So, because I cut them out of that sketchbook, I put them into here, and I think this is going to work a lot better. A couple other tips that I'm going to talk about for nature journaling in wet conditions. A lot of times, you'll be able to use your regular drawing supplies pretty well in wet conditions. And I recommend actually trying to test the limits of what is actually possible with your normal supplies. One trick that I use when I'm walking around with my sketchbook and it's drizzling slightly is I try to always hold it upright. When your journal is upright like this, it provides less surface area for falling droplets. When it's like this, it provides a lot more. So if you're ever out in the rainforest even and there's just drops of water falling from the trees, hold your sketchbook this way as much as possible. This applies for your watercolor palette as well because you don't want errant drops of water falling on your watercolor palette. But always walk around holding your sketchbook uh, vertically like this whenever possible, and then just turn it this way for drawing. Another thing that you'll notice is that certain drawing tools are going to be a lot harder than others because they dry slowly. So for example, some of my favorite ink drawing tools, these Fude Demonin ink pens, these put out a lot of black ink and it takes a long time for that ink to dry. So I pretty much never use these when I know that it's going to be wet. I also replace the original ink. These come with a water soluble ink, and I use a waterproof ink, the carbon ink. So it's a waterproof ink, but nevertheless, it takes a little bit of time for that to dry. These are better and dry faster, but nevertheless, you still have to be careful when there's water droplets on the page. It can be a problem. Best of all is going to be graphite tools. I really like the Prismacolor Ebony, and these are the ones that I use with my waterproof Right in the Rain paper. So graphite is really good for wet conditions. And then another thing that I think is really important is this rubber band that I use. Always save the rubber bands that come with like broccoli, for example, and having something like that is really useful. I use mine to hold my pencil together with my sketchbook because a lot of times when you're nature journaling in the rain, you're not going to want to carry your normal nature journaling bag because this whole bag will get wet. There are waterproof bags called dry bags, and those usually don't have very many pockets or internal organization. And you need internal organization for nature journaling. So my favorite bag is this Patagonia bag. As you can see, it has all these internal pockets and stuff like that that help me organize all of my tools. Most dry bags that are made for like kayaking and stuff like that are not going to have that internal organization, and it's just a huge dump in there. Very challenging to use for nature journaling, in my opinion. What I do instead is just in case of emergencies, I carry a small dry bag inside of my kit, and in the worst case scenario, I can put my entire sketchbook and watercolor palette inside of this bag so that it stays dry, even if the rest of my bag gets wet. Sorry about all the background noise. I am at a hotel, and there is a concert going on right outside of my room. So thanks for everyone joining in. I see that Eli is here. I'm not sure who this is. That sounds like a really great approach, similar to what I'm using. Sorry, Eli, about that. I'm not sure why. I'm not sure why. I know it's a little bit confusing to have the live right after the premiere, but I'm gonna try to keep doing that for a while. Okay, it sounds like, ooh, this is a good idea too. That sounds like a great idea. Another thing that I'm going to point out is that with my regular nature journal kit, one thing that I can do is I can actually put my raincoat on over it. So I'll put the kit on like this. It's a shoulder bag, and then this is my rain jacket. And this is what I was doing in southern Costa Rica when I was going on night hikes. Where I was sort of like cloud forest transition zone. So what I do is, because this coat is on over it, if it really starts raining, it's easy to cover up my kit with the jacket. This jacket also works for when I am doing a simplified setup. So as you just saw in the Yasuni video, what I did is I didn't even carry this bag at all. It would have gotten completely soaked. I just carried this, and I had it in the pocket of my jacket, so it's easy to access. That's the other thing that's bad about dry bags. Dry bags, there are some that have shoulder straps and you can carry them, and I have experimented nature drilling with those, but real dry bags are going to have this thing to close it all up, and it has to be twisted like this. And for it to actually be waterproof, what happens is you're creating a lot of friction. Friction is all of the steps that you have to take before you can get your nature journaling supplies out. So if you have nature journaling supplies in something like this that is an actual dry bag, then it's going to be really hard for you to access them, which means you're going to use them less. On the other hand, if you just have something like this and it's just right in your jacket pocket, walk through the rain. Now the internet signal is not that great, and it's probably because everybody here is using it. So then you can walk through the rain easily like this and pull out this little sketchbook and sketch right there. So this is what I use for very wet conditions. I modify my normal techniques. If you saw my Cloud Forest episode a couple weeks ago, I modify my normal techniques on very wet, medium wet weather. So here's an example of a watercolor I did on a very moist day. It was hard to do, but it was still possible. It dried very slow, but it is possible. So having a couple different setups, depending on how wet it is recommendable, and is how I approach it. Yes, hair dryers are very useful. Okay, everybody, I am going to stop the live here. Thanks for joining in. Hola, Gabi, ¿qué tal? Oh, Gabi was actually on that trip with me in Yasuni. So very cool to see you joining in on the live. ¿Ya estás en República Dominicana? Gabi works with an endangered bird of prey in the Dominican Republic, which is really awesome. And she joined in on that canoe trip and that whole trip to Yasuni. Hi, Jean. Thanks for joining in. All right, everybody. Thanks for joining in. Okay, good. Actually, hold on. Let me answer this question. Yves' question. I would recommend just getting something like this, a Right in the Rain sketchbook, and one of these ebony Prismacolor, or even any graphite pencil, and an umbrella. With those three things, you could do a lot of nature journaling in wet conditions, Ivea. So that's what I recommend. Or even just a really good umbrella. You can do use your regular nature journaling supplies under there. These Right in the Rain are probably a good investment for you, Ivea, because you do so much in the field with your restoration stuff, nature journaling, I think some of the Write in the Rain, it would be worth looking at their website. If I were you, Eva, definitely check it out. Oh, hi, Tiffany's here. Tiffany, Jean. Okay, all right, bye, everybody. Next episode is going to be coming out on Wednesday, and I've got some Costa Rica episodes lined up coming soon. Bye.